So, what happens when a country's former leader decides to write its history? Well, we're about to find out. We're going to dive into the story of Australia's founding, all told from the unique perspective of someone who once held its highest office. The source material for all this is the book Australia, A History by former Prime Minister Tony Abbott. Now, it's pretty unusual for a politician to write what's meant to be a nation's definitive history, so it really makes you wonder, what's the story he wants to tell? In his own words, Abbott is pretty clear that he's aiming for a personal and positive account. He argues against what he's called the black armband view of Australian history, interpretations that really zero in on the injustices of the past. Instead, he wants to tell a story that he believes everyone, including Indigenous people, can take pride in. It's a history that's very much framed by the idea that individuals and their choices really truly matter. All right, so the story kicks off with a pretty bold claim. From the very start, back in 1788, the mission, according to this book, wasn't just to set up a prison, it was to improve lives. This comparison you're seeing here really challenges that common image of a penal colony. The book argues that instead of a brutal slave system, Australia was founded on principles that were just fundamentally different. Convicts could actually earn their own money, they had legal rights, and the whole project was framed as a chance for a new start, not just punishment. And this powerful statement from Arthur Phillip, the very first governor, is presented as the settlement's absolute foundational idea. I mean, think about it. Calling a penal colony a free land from day one, that was, to say the least, a pretty radical concept. So how was any of this even possible? Well, according to the book, it all boiled down to one crucial decision made back in London. The colony would be governed by civil law, not military law. What this meant was that convicts, who back in Britain lost all their rights and property, actually had legal standing in Australia. They could sue people, they could own property, and they'd be tried under a system that presumed they were innocent. And that one legal decision, it basically lit a fuse that led to a shockingly rapid transformation. The settlement just morphed from this government-run camp into a bustling, completely unplanned, market-driven society. Just look at this timeline. It shows you how incredibly fast things changed. Within just 2 years, they were literally on the brink of famine. But by 1795, it was the ex-convicts who were becoming the colony's agricultural backbone. And then, amazingly, by 1804, only 16 years after they arrived, the colony was basically feeding itself. And this quote from Governor John Hunter just captures the pure astonishment at the social mobility going on. People who showed up as prisoners, the very dregs, as he puts it, were in no time achieving a level of wealth that would have been completely unimaginable for them back in Britain. So what was driving this absolute explosion of private enterprise? The book points to a few key things. You had the military officers, the famous rum corps who controlled the rum trade. They kind of kicked things off. But the convicts quickly became these savvy middlemen and entrepreneurs themselves. Sydney turned into a trade hub, and by 1804, almost 2/3 of the population was totally economically independent from the government. Okay, so whenever you have this kind of rapid, unplanned growth, conflict is pretty much inevitable. And the famous Rum Rebellion, it wasn't just about booze. It was a fundamental clash over what kind of society New South Wales was actually going to become. On one side, you had Governor Bligh. Yep, the same infamous captain from the Bounty. He wanted to dial things back, restore a government-controlled subsistence economy, and prop up the small farmers. But on the other side, you had this entrepreneur, John MacArthur, who was representing a whole new class of traders and big landholders who were fighting to just unleash the colony's commercial potential. So the whole thing came to a head when Bligh tried to ban rum as a form of currency, which basically threatened the entire economic system they built. MacArthur challenged him, and then, on the 20th anniversary of the colony's founding, the military actually stepped in and arrested the governor. It was Australia's first and, to this day, only military coup. The guy they sent in from London to restore order was Governor Lachlan Macquarie, and he brought with him a truly revolutionary vision that was centered on one key group, the Emancipists. Macquarie's vision was nothing short of transformative. He didn't just see emancipators as free citizens. He saw them as the bedrock of this new society. He appointed them to key government jobs, he invited them to dinner parties, completely defying the rigid British class system and, as you can imagine, absolutely horrifying the colony's wealthy elite.
So you take this unique combination of legal rights, economic opportunity, and social experimentation, and what happens? You start to see a brand new identity being forged, one that was born in the colony and was totally distinct from its British roots. They were even called currency lads and lasses. Now, that term was actually meant to be an insult, kind of implying they were inferior to British sterling. But the reality was the complete opposite. This first native-born generation was described as being physically different, taller, healthier, and just better adapted to their new world.
And it wasn't just them. Their ambition couldn't be contained either. The government tried to limit settlement, to keep the colony small and under control, but it was impossible. Settlers, chasing land for the booming wool trade, just pushed relentlessly beyond the official borders, shaping the nation's geography on their own terms. And this is really where the book's main argument comes together. While the governors and officials definitely played their parts, the true founders of modern Australia were the people on the ground. I mean, get a load of this statistic. The vast majority of Sydney's ship owners during this time were ex-convicts. You had former prisoners who became merchant princes and formidable women who managed these huge business empires, laying the economic foundations for the whole future of the country.
And so the book wraps up with this idea that this strange, really unlikely experiment, building a whole new society from the outcasts of another, wasn't just surviving. It was a spectacular success, driven by the sheer ambition and resilience of its people. Which brings us to a final, really critical question. We've just gone through one telling of this story, a positive and very personal one. And it really makes you think, how does any nation's founding story, and maybe even more importantly, who gets to tell that story? How does that ultimately shape its identity today?